Hey everyone, I'm Megyn Kelly. Welcome to the Megyn Kelly Show. So much to get to today. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth this morning calling out fat generals and admirals. Literally announcing new physical fitness standards for the military. I'm totally here for it. Plus, you will not believe, well, you will actually, what Ta-Nehisi Coates said about Charlie Kirk. It's so bad, it actually got our pal Mark Halperin to drop a couple of F-bombs. You don't hear that every day. We begin today with Stu Burguiere, host of Blaze TV's Stu Does America. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe to this show on YouTube and follow me on Insta, Facebook, and X. We have to talk about something you will not want to miss out on. For about the price of one streaming service, you can get life insurance coverage you need with SelectQuote. Now, even if this is your first time thinking about life insurance, they're going to make it super simple for you. For over 40 years, SelectQuote has helped more than 2 million Americans secure hundreds of billions in coverage. As a broker, they work for you for free, comparing policies from trusted, top-rated companies to match your health, lifestyle, and your budget. Some providers even offer same-day coverage, up to $2 million with no medical exam. And if you've got a pre-existing condition, no problem. SelectQuote partners with companies that cover people with high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease. Life insurance is never cheaper than it is today. Get the right life insurance for you for less and save more than 50% at selectquote.com/Megyn. That's selectquote.com/Megyn. Stu, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much, Megyn. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth gathers all the generals and the admirals in Washington and made really clear that it's the dawn of a new day, is basically what he said. Here's an overview. We'll start with SOT 3.
From this moment forward, the only mission of the newly restored Department of War is this: warfighting, preparing for war and preparing to win, unrelenting and uncompromising in that pursuit. Not because we want war, no one here wants war, but it's because we love peace. We love peace for our fellow citizens. They deserve peace, and they rightfully expect us to deliver it.
Right on. So he, among other things, said we are returning to, when it comes to combat roles, the standards that were in place before when it comes to height and weight, and male standards. And what he said was that, at my direction, each service will ensure that every requirement for every combat military occupational specialty, for every designated combat arms position, returns to the highest male standard only, because this job is life or death. That's when he got to how fat everybody is. We'll play that here. I think it's SOT 4.
Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new profession.
Right on, Stu. Get out. If you're fat, you can do my job, but you can't do that job. You shouldn't be doing that job. Physical fitness matters in the military. It always has anyway. Only in the more recent years have we relaxed it to the point where anybody who's morbidly obese and wants a steady paycheck can join the military. He's talking about for combat roles in particular, the standards are going to go way up. But for everybody, no more obese people roaming the halls of the Pentagon, not the people who are supposed to be in command of our armed forces. What do you make of it?
Well, the way that you said that felt a little personal to me, first of all, Megyn.
You feel attacked.
Well, here's the thing. I shouldn't be in the military. I am not in good enough shape to be in the military. You don't want me leading your fighting. That's okay.
I'm in fine shape, but I'm not strong enough. I'm not strong enough. I don't belong there. No man should have his life in my scrawny arms, hands.
This is the thing. It's like, these are supposed to be the most exceptional people in the world as a fighting force, right? And that's what we demand out of our military. It's what we expect out of our military. At least that's what Pete seems to expect out of our military. And that's a good thing. We should have these high standards. They should be not gender-specific standards. They should be, are you strong enough? Can you do these things? I was, as Pete was going up on stage, I was talking to my female producer whose in-depth commentary on his speech was, he's hot. And, look, I don't know, maybe he is. But like, the guy's in good shape. He's a good front-facing person for our military. And I'm sure there were people in that room who are generals who are like, maybe hitting the yodels a little bit too much. That should change. We should have a military that provides an image of the most elite fighting force in the world. It shouldn't all be the fact that we have the most money and the most technology. We should have the best people set to the highest standards. And that's seemingly what Hegseth wants here.
Exactly right. Look, you can go, as I always say to staff who work here, if you don't want to ever be called in on an evening or on a weekend or over a holiday for breaking news, go work at KeyBank. It's a wonderful place. You work 9 to 4, steady hours. You don't really have weekends. You never have to work a holiday. You're good. You have the wonderful options for you. But if you want to work in news, your life's going to be topsy-turvy at times. And by the way, you're always expected to be looking at the news. Morning, noon, evening, and night. That's just the nature of our business. If you don't have a Jones for that, like Pete said, find a different profession. There's so many out there. Go with God. But if you want to serve in the American Armed Forces, you should have to be in shape. There should be a bare minimum of fitness. And Pete is living. He's practicing what he preaches. Now, this came as very unfortunate news for the women of The View. You're shocked, I know, given the elite form that the women are in over on that set. But I think everyone was asking themselves, what does Joy Behar think? And I have the answer.
The newly renamed Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, spoke to U.S. military leaders from around the world to lay out his very retro vision for our armed forces. Why is he obsessed with fat?
Yeah, and fitness and...
Fat, yeah, and fitness. Add Sonny Hostins too.
I mean, what do you mean, why? We're talking about a military here. We're talking about a fighting force. Like, this is you're going to be intimidated by people that look like me. That's the problem. You don't want that in your military. You want someone who's going to step up and provide that image. And at the very least, obviously, the weight is what's going to make all the headlines here. But really what that's about is discipline, right? It's about having discipline and drive. And those things are all achievable, at least for the vast majority of us, if we put in enough time. I know there's been times in my life where, it's hard to believe, I was actually in halfway decent shape. That was because at that time, I put in the effort. I made sure I skipped dessert. I made sure maybe I didn't order that second appetizer. That's supposed to be something that we're kind of putting out there, I think, as a military to say, not only are we in shape, which is obviously vitally important when it comes to a fighting force, but also that we're disciplined, that we're doing everything that we can to put forward an attitude of discipline and something that is going to be the desire of the world. I want people to look at us and, you think about like the old Soviet military, just all fat generals and, their guts are hanging out like that. That's what I picture from every, movie about that era. That is not what we want to portray. And I think bringing everybody in instead of doing it over a Zoom call is sort of like the difference between sending your kids to school and sending them to virtual COVID school, right? Mm-hmm. It's easy to hear that speech over a computer while you're in Afghanistan somewhere and you're like, all right, when is this going to be over? Having to make that trip across the world and to sit down there and have to listen to that in person, this is a real priority. This isn't just a joke. It's not about just shaving your beard. It's about a standard that we're trying to set. And I think the message was actually received.
Yes, get your act together. If not, KeyBank. It's wonderful. You get to sit all day. You have set hours. Nobody says a word about your physique. And if they do, you probably have a civil lawsuit against them. Different story in the military. Here's one more from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, SOT 5.
This administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit.
Oh, my God. I love him. That's exactly what he's there for, Stu. That's what Trump wanted him for. That's what I wanted him for, that among other things. But he's living it. We're done with it. All we care about is readiness, preparedness. Stop focusing on the damn climate and white rage, which is what we had for 4 years under Joe Biden.
Yeah, this is the clip that I had sent to me from multiple friends that were in the military previously. This is the one, because this is what they wanted. This is what they were cheering for while they were there. We had a guy who works here, one of our producers who's in the military, who literally stood up and cheered when he said this, because we do have the best fighting force in the world, and they just want to be unleashed. They want to be unleashed to be able to do the things that they signed up to do, to work for the freedom of the American people, to extend the vision of our founders into today. And instead, we're worried about, a 0.9 degree temperature rise over a century. We're worried about whether, gender issues are going to be respected, whether the correct pronouns are going to be used. That's not what our military is for. The only thing our military should care about is merit and winning. Those are the things that they should care about. And, that is what we're trying to refocus, I guess, our country on. I think Trump set that goal at the beginning. People question Pete's, initial pick when they selected him. I remember talking to you about this at the time. They derided him as, he's just a Fox News host. Well, I mean, I don't know. That's, first of all, ridiculous. He has a lot of military experience. We talked about that at the time. But the fact that he's able to communicate like this is a real positive for our military, for this vision. It's not just about having, checking the boxes on a piece of paper of what experience you have.
No, who did Lloyd Austin inspire? No one. Right. Can you remember a single speech or comment he made in 4 years? I'm sorry, but he was not inspirational. There's Pete out there speaking face to face with these generals and these admirals and living it himself. Every day we see one of those fitness videos posted by Pete where he's training with the troops, with the rank and file, the war fighters, as he calls them, showing them, I'm not above anything. I will do exactly what you do. I won't ask you to do anything more than I ask of myself. Now, the commander-in-chief is the one member of the military who does not need to be totally shipshape on his fitness. I'm not sure the message goes up. I think it only goes down. But Trump is totally in line with what Pete is saying. And here he was, because he spoke after Pete in SOT 1.
We're bringing back a focus on fitness, ability, character, and strength. And that's because the purposes of American military is not to protect anyone's feelings. It's to protect our republic, and it's the republic that we dearly love. It's to protect our country. We will not be politically correct when it comes to defending American freedom, and we will be a fighting and winning machine. We want to fight, we want to win, and we want to fight as little as possible. You have to count on people like me to keep you out of wars, because we don't want to go into war.
How many videos did we have during Biden of trans service members putting on their drag queen eyelashes, makeup, and dresses, like from their military uniform, and asking us to celebrate that? How many military recruiting videos did we have of like, my mom's a black lesbian and I'm a lesbian and I'm in the CIA, or I'm now in some sort of, intelligence service or military service? They were all about the DEI during Joe Biden. Which explains a lot about our withdrawal from Afghanistan and the way we were prioritizing our military. This is huge. It's the dawn of a new day. He's only been in office for 8 months. He's been tearing these things down bit by bit. And today was the official, get off your ass, We're not going to be lazy about this anymore. I really mean it now.
Yeah. I mean, as you were painting that picture, it reminded me of the videos that you had mentioned about with Pete Hegseth out there. The other guy in a lot of those videos was RFK Jr., right? Our health secretary, also in his 70s, able to do these ridiculous things. And we've gone from a guy in jeans doing pull-ups and push-ups as the HHS secretary. Before that, it was a guy we had guys in dresses and people who were not even certain of what gender they were telling us health advice. That's the change that we had. And I really think you highlighted a great part of the Trump dynamic here, which is he is pretty much averse to going to war. Like he is a guy who really wants to keep us out. He's been bragging about ending 7 wars. He's made endless efforts in both Israel and Russia to try to end those conflicts. That really is his goal. But it's that classic peace through strength combination where we have that military that's going to be so incredibly intimidating if you cross us. It's there. We will use it if necessary, but we're going to do what we can to avoid using it. And that combination, I think, people, there's this conflict on the right about whether, Reagan's time is gone. But Reagan and Trump have similar messages there. Neither one of them, I think, wanted war, but they did want to have that peace through strength combination. And I think that's what Trump's trying to bring here. And I believe this is the right way to do it.
Well, there was another surprising moment today when President Trump spoke. In a rare, seldom seen moment, he had some praise for Barack Obama. Watch this.
So one thing with Obama, I had zero respect for him as a president, but he would bop down those stairs. I've never said, da-da-da-da-da-da, pop, pop, pop. He'd go down the stairs, wouldn't hold on. I said, it's great. I don't want to do it. I guess I could do it. But eventually, bad things are going to happen. And it only takes once. But he did a lousy job as president.
But he bopped down those stairs, Stu. That's nice. He found something positive to say.
That's nice. First of all, the guy's just funny. People are so caught up in calling him a fascist and everything. It's constant. But when you step back and you just appreciate him as an entertainer, he's just a funny guy. And I will say, he's been very complimentary to Barack Obama. I saw that line of presidential photos. I know it was the auto pen for Joe Biden, but Barack got a very nice photo there. So I don't know, maybe there's some bipartisan coming together on that front.
Well, and in Trump's defense, that was the nicest photo of Joe Biden I've ever seen.
Yes. The nicest and most accurate.
Than we've seen him in years. For listening audience not aware, it was the picture of the auto pen. Okay, do we think this is funny? Because it was clearly meant in humor, but the president's critics are saying it's racist. We're possibly going into a government shutdown tonight at midnight. They almost always stave them off. They get everybody all exercised, and at the last minute, both sides decide it's not worth it. We'll see whether this is yet another time like that. So they had a meeting, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House, and Chuck Schumer, Democratic leader in the Senate, with the White House. And it didn't go very well because after it was over, one of the sticking points is Trump says that they're holding out for health care and payments for illegals that he does not want to fund. And so after they left, Trump posted an AI video of Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer. In this AI video for the listening audience we're about to show, Hakeem Jeffries is wearing a sombrero and is disguised as a Mexican. And Schumer is saying stuff that he didn't actually say. Here it is in SOT 7.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Okay, so this is predictably causing a meltdown on the left. Hakeem Jeffries went on Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell last night. They were both appalled. Watch.
I'm not showing this video that Donald Trump put out about you and Chuck Schumer today, this fake video. People are going to see it. They'll see it in other ways. It's easy to find. But it is absolutely disgusting in every way. It is a lie. It's the man you met with has now lied about what you said after that meeting. Could you give us your reaction to that Trump posted video tonight?
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault on all the things: Medicaid, Medicare, the Affordable Care Act. Republicans are closing our hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health clinics, and have effectively shut down medical research in the United States of America.
Bigotry? In the lower third reads, Trump posts racist AI video. Disgusting bigotry. They both agree. So bigoted that MSNBC won't even show it. And they are the most racist channel on television. That's obviously Joy Reid's platform, and the crazy guy who's, why am I forgetting the Nation's correspondent, who's the most racist man on television, Elie Mystal. We could go down the list. That lunatic Tiffany Cross, who was there in the morning. They're all, right? That's the most racist channel on television. Too racist for them, Stu. Shocking.
Yeah, that was shocking. I can't believe, and you played it, Megyn. I can't believe you. Even when
Proceeding with abandon.
And I know I saw CNN say the exact same thing. Trump posts racist video, and when I actually saw it first on CNN, looking for some other ridiculous story, I'm sure. And I was like, well, what is this? You click on it, and it's he's wearing he's wearing a sombrero, and he's got a fake mustache. That is what we're supposed to be so shocked. They won't. That's so devastating to them. They can't show you a sombrero photoshopped onto a congressman. It's so ridiculous. And I will say, there are a couple of different versions of Democrats, right? Democrats have not every, but most successful actors, right? They have most successful entertainers. They have tons and tons of really high profile comedians who draw massive audiences. That is one version of what the Democrats can present. Then there's this version where they act like they're offended at an AI video. And that's the one I hope they keep. I want them to keep going down that road. I want them to keep thinking that they're going to convince people to vote for them by harassing them and telling them they can't make jokes. And go back, try all your woke stuff again. We've seen how well that works for you. Keep canceling people because they decided to have a laugh on a Tuesday afternoon. That's a type of Democrat that I think most voters can't stand. They don't want a Karen as their political parties. And I think if they keep going down that road, it's nothing but good for the country because people will see through that. And I think that nonsense does not work anymore.
The video has 19 million views so far online from the White House account. That's effective. That's what you call effective. It's very hard to get most people to look at, comment at, and replay a White House video on the government shutdown, one of the most potentially boring stories ever for the reasons I stated earlier. They always have this brinksmanship, and then it almost, 99% of the time, it does not result in a shutdown. So it's like, all right, we've seen this film how many times before? This did it. And literally, how is it racist? What it's trying to say is that the Democrats want to benefit illegals from south of the border. That's who they care about. How is that untrue? And how would you depict somebody south of the border in the most quick and visual way? Yeah, a sombrero, that will do it. With the big mustache, I knew exactly what country he was talking about, what region of the country. And that's where most of these immigrants came from, who these Democrats are defending. I mean, truly, how is it pejorative to Mexicans in general? It just shows they'd rather be in our country, as evidenced by the fact that they flocked here by the millions and now refuse to leave.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same way that if the Democrats were making a parody video and they wanted to talk about some Trump supporter, they'd throw him in a red hat and they'd have him swigging a beer and they'd, it's the same thing. It's not, I wouldn't be offended by that. We get it. I understand it. And at the end of the day, what the parody there is not of Mexicans. It's not even of illegal immigrants. What the parody of, I think he's going for there, is to show how they are transparent in what they're trying to do. They're constantly looking to play to whatever audience is in front of them, whatever thing they need to say at any given time. They will play down to the audience. They will, try to. This is what they're doing with the illegal immigrant health care thing right now. They're trying to buy racial minority voters. They're trying to bring those people back to them. They're trying to act as if the other side is racist. They will say anything they have to say at any given moment when it benefits them. That is the decision-making process for the left. When it's all about individual rights when it comes to abortion, because it's the one time they care about individual rights. They will say anything they need to say. And in this situation, they don't have much they can go for here. We've watched these shutdown politics over and over again. As you point out, almost all the time it doesn't happen. This time might be different just because the AOC left is there on Chuck Schumer's behind and may very well challenge him in the next election.
And because he got his hand slapped for breaking down and agreeing to it at the last minute the last time. So he's now once bitten, twice shy.
Exactly. He's terrified of AOC and everybody on the far left. So he might very well go through with this time. But we've seen how the media handles this every other time it goes on. When a Republican is in the minority and there's a Democratic president, every single time we get the treatment that the party that's out of power is the one holding this up. We should just go forward with a clean CR. We should just keep spending at these, what I would say are completely ridiculous levels until eternity. And the only thing that will stop that are these evil Republicans trying to take these poor government workers and throw them out on their butts so they can't feed their families. Have you seen one federal worker profiled this week? There's usually 2 weeks of buildup of this. We get how these people won't be able to put their kids in daycare. They won't be able to afford their rent. We get that all the time. We haven't seen one story, not one sad sob story of a worker that's going to be put out because of this one time. And it's because they're trying to promote an agenda that's going to blame the Republicans this time. I don't know if it's going to work. They try it every single time. I hope this stuff fails on the American people, but you never know.
Meanwhile, speaking of Barack Obama, this is also his fault. His Obamacare law, which no one wanted. He shoved it down our throats without majority support. Elections have consequences. Is too expensive. It jacked up people's premiums and their rates in large pockets of the electorate. And in order to maintain some popularity for Democrats, they subsidized some folks, not everybody, because I hear from them in my email all the time about how their healthcare costs went up considerably after Obamacare. But they subsidized some portion of those bills for people so that they wouldn't feel the full impact of Obamacare for the first 10 plus years. And now they just keep kicking that can down the road. And those subsidies are about to go away because they can't stay in place forever. And the Democrats are crying foul. Like, no, it has to. Your law sucks. It raised people's prices. It raised prices pretty much across the board. You've never wrestled with that fact. We're still pretending Obamacare was a success thanks to these artificial crutches around it. The jig is up, okay? Sorry, but it's on you. All right, that's the shutdown. Before we leave partisan politics, I've got to get back to Kamala Harris. She said this on The View the other day, and we pointed out it was a lie. But now she keeps doubling and tripling down on it on her ridiculous book tour, 107 days or 4 days. I would have done it if not for my short time frame. And she goes to speak to her alumna friends at Howard University. She's here with students in the bookstore as she repeats this lie again. SOT 19.
Closest election for President of the United States in the 21st century.
Wow, I know that's right. The Howard grad did that.
And a Howard grad did
Okay, are they not very smart at Howard? I'm sorry. What's wrong with the girls at Howard? Can't they do math? And a Howard grad did that with the finger. It's a lie. You remember how she's like, my soror? So maybe these were girls from her soror, just giving her, throwing her a bone, but it's all lies. And just for kicks, we decided to pull the actual close elections in the 21st century. They did not include the Barack Obama elections. We didn't go there, but we did go to the closest ones, okay? Let me just tell you what happened in 2024, the race that she's claiming was the closest ever. Donald Trump beat her by 86 electoral college votes. 86. In the 2016 election, where he beat Hillary, he only beat her by 70 electoral votes. In the 2000 election, when George W. Bush beat Al Gore, he only beat him by 5 electoral votes. So it is definitely not the closest election in the 21st century. Well, maybe she's talking about the popular vote. Let's look at that. In the popular vote, in her contest against Donald Trump, she, the Democrat, lost. She lost to Donald Trump by 2.3 million. It was surplus GOP 2.3 million. What happened in that 2016 election? Hillary Clinton beat the actual winner, Donald Trump, by 2.87 million. And then in 2000, how many votes did separated the two men? Again, George W. Bush won, but typically the Democrat won the popular vote. He won, Al Gore, by 542,000 votes, but he lost the election because the Electoral College is what matters. No matter how you slice it, hers was not the closest election or loss in the 21st century. Why does she keep saying that?
This is pretty easy to check, too. I mean, it's really something that we can all look up. We all experienced. I mean, considering, I don't know if 2000 is technically the 21st century, if it's the last year of the 20th century, I can never remember that. But I mean, everybody remembers how close that was. People forget how close the 2004 election was. I mean, it was just one state, Ohio, that was really the difference there. The 2016 election, Democrats won the popular vote, as you mentioned. 2020 is another one that was closer than 2024. The only, really, if you look at the only elections that were more of a quote unquote blowout than 2024 were the two Obama elections. Those are the only two. And, you know, I sometimes get nervous about phrasing it that way because we were really close to having Kamala Harris as a president. I mean, she needed to win 3 blue wall states. The largest margin of those 3 states was only 1.9%. So we have to make sure that we take that seriously, because if we stop working hard, if the people at TPUSA that do all this hard work, without that hard work, that might have been a loss in that election, as crazy as it sounds. But it was definitely not the closest. I don't know why she keeps repeating this. This is one of many, many lies throughout the book. In the book, she claims that she came up with no taxes on tips. What? In the book, she claims that 340 transgendered people were murdered in the United States last year. That number is not true. She just Googled it and came up with the global number, which was incorrect. And not to mention the overwhelming majority, over 80%, I believe, of the transgender people who have been murdered are murdered because they're sex workers. A lot of times and Chad Felix Green has gone through each individual case and talked about this, but we're talking about people who are showing up for a sexual encounter, portraying themselves as a woman, and then in the middle of the sexual encounter, the person who's paying them for sex finds out it's a male. That's not the way that we normally think of transgendered violence because of hatred. That's a totally different situation. Fire. Still wrong. All right, it's still wrong, of course, but a totally different situation than is being portrayed. There's a lot of this stuff in her book. She's, of course, delusional throughout it, but she also just seems to not even be checking basic facts. Well,
I mean, at least she spat it out at that Howard event in a way that I could understand what she was saying, so we can put the lie to it. I appreciate the clarity. That's not what we've been getting from her. Here's another little highlight for you when she sat down with Joy Reid, SOT 20.
And you think this country is going to survive this regime?
Only if we fight for the country we love. And listen, that's another piece of this, which is I really want to remind people of the light that is in each of us, even in these moments of darkness, especially in these moments of darkness. We have to remember nobody gives us our light. It's ours. So let's see it in ourselves. Let's see it in each other. It may be a little flicker right now because they're certainly trying to dim it, but don't let them extinguish our light. Right?
Stu, you're... was exactly what I needed to hear at the right. No one extinguishes your light. God, let me just get my pen.
It's amazing. It really is. How many of those did she have when she was vice president? We did a whole series called Veep Thoughts, in which, if you remember the old Saturday Night Live sketch where they would do these deep thoughts, that's what she would do. Yeah. She just kind of get out into this weird, she'd get out almost on a plank and she'd just keep talking and just think that she'd eventually be able to make it to the other side, to the next boat. It just didn't happen. Lots of falls into the ocean with that one.
I want to hear more. You can't get enough of Kamala Harris. Let's SOT 22. I haven't even heard this one. This is her TikTok posting about her visit to Howard.
Oh, Cal, you from California? I'm from Oakland, California. Hey, girl. Oh, come here. Well, you see how it turns out? Huh? Yes, ma'am. This is a moment in time in our country and the world where I hope everything that you are seeing tells you we need you. We need you to lead. We need you to be strong. You are leaders right now. You were born leaders. It's good to be at the bookstore. Right.
Oh my God, she is the least inspirational figure ever, like literally in U.S. history. I hope everything you are seeing right now tells you to lead. What? And then the girl to Oakland, you see how it turns out. Okay, she's from like this rich suburb up in Washington. This is how Oakland turns out. If you sleep with Willie Brown, you too could wind up a failed vice presidential candidate. I mean, Stu, I'm sorry, but like the production around her, it's like the kids say, stop trying to make whatever happen, right? That's like they're saying when you're like trying too hard, and it works so well when deployed effectively. Stop trying to make Kamala Harris's cool happen. You tried, you spent $2 billion, it failed, it's still failing.
Yeah, and they keep attempting it. And I guess I ask you a question here, Megyn, which is, to what end? Like, what is the purpose of this?
Well, a lot of people are saying she's running. A lot of people, like smart political people online, are saying all they're hearing here is telling them she's running for president again.
I just can't believe she thinks this is a good idea, though. Her book title sort of hints to it. Like the book is filled with excuses as to the only reason she lost the election is because she only has 107 days to have everything come together. Now, I was there for this period. I remember how it went. I remember she actually got out to a lead about 30 days in. I think the shorter period of time would have worked much, much better for her. I was there when she picked Tim Walz as her vice presidential candidate in the most inexplicable decision in human history. That was part of this disaster. And I just don't think that's where people are. I mean, her answer on the Tim Walz thing was to say, well, I would have rather had Pete Buttigieg, but he was gay. Which is strange. It puts her as the only person I've ever heard in my entire life, Megyn, to admit they didn't hire someone because they're gay. I mean, I know that's probably happened, sadly, but it's like she is actually the one person who's come out and said, yeah, that was how I made
illegal.
the decision.
If we're being honest, illegal. It's not lawful. If you or I did not hire somebody because of their sexuality, we could get sued.
And yet she is blurting it out in her book to, I guess, pave the way for another run. I don't think there's any desire for her to come back. It's funny, after the Hillary Clinton loss, there was a lot of talk about her coming back in 2020, even some people remembering 2024.
Trigger.
Yeah, I know. It hurts to think about it. But I never was worried about that one, solely because I saw how much Democrats hated her. They didn't see her as, oh gosh, she was a great candidate. How did she lose? They saw her as a person who blew an election against a guy they couldn't believe they couldn't beat. That's how they saw her. And they didn't have any desire to bring her back. Kamala is sort of in that category, maybe not as extreme as Hillary. I think there are some people on the left who really think that maybe if she had full time for a campaign, it would have worked out better. But we saw her try to run for her own campaign. She had an incredible launch. Do you remember that, Megyn? I mean, it was highly publicized. She raised funds. She was a great fundraiser, and she remained to be a great fundraiser to the end, obviously. Billions of dollars they spent on that campaign. But to what end? It doesn't lead anywhere with her. It's just throwing money into a vapid wilderness. And I don't think the Democrats want to attempt that again.
Well, here she is tuning up her message about Donald Trump. This is one of the things people are pointing to as alleged evidence that she's getting ready to run for president. It's from the Congressional Black Caucus Phoenix Awards on Saturday. SOT 21.
A time such as this demands that we win the midterms and enforce checks and balances on this unchecked, incompetent, unhinged president. At a time such as this, it demands one thing for sure. We must fight fire with fire.
What does that mean? That's what we're doing, you moron. That's why James Comey just got indicted. Like, what is she even talking about? Unhinged and incompetent. That's where she's going to go? This is why she should be the next nominee?
I mean, it does seem to be the Democratic preference for what they want, unhinged and insane. But again, you come out of an area where we've been talking about political assassinations. They keep talking about how we're the ones raising the temperature. And then we get this fight fire with fire talk. I don't think that's the cause for any of these problems per se. But like, it's fascinating to see them kind of stumble their way through it. I don't think that message is going to, to connect with people. I think the Democrats are done with her. Now, look, as someone who doesn't want her to win or any Democrat to win, I'd cheer her on. I hope she goes.
Me too.
It's
I'm rooting
her
for her.
and Jasmine
Totally.
Crockett on the same ticket. That's what I want.
Same.
I want Jasmine. Yeah, that would be fantastic. That's my ultimate
Do
choice.
it.
I would love it. Do it, please. I mean, again, either we'd win or it would completely sink our country, but we'd probably deserve it if we selected.
But it would be fun. It would be a good time for you and me.
Great content. I'll say that as we careened into the ocean.
I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait for Democratic primary season to start. And it's kind of already starting. They're sort of popping up here and there. They're doing their little turf wars. I did think one interesting revelation in her book was on the day that Joe Biden told her he wasn't going to keep running and he was passing the baton to her, she started phone calling all these top Democrats to get their endorsement and their support so that there wasn't any sort of a fracture within the party and a mini primary push. And the one person who didn't pick up her call was Gavin Newsom, who just texted back, hiking, and then didn't ever call her back. I love that detail. I'm sorry, but like newfound respect for Gavin Newsom. That was pretty well done. Yeah.
That's the most likable moment I've ever seen from Gavin Newsom. I'm not going to get sucked into it, but I am. I actually like that. It's true. She is. It's such a bizarre person. Like, the one thing she's very, very good at, and the entire reason outside of sleeping with Willie Brown, which led to her rise into the American political world, is she was really good at those backroom moments. She's really good at harassing people to support her. The backroom moments with Willie Brown, a little bit different. I'm not sure how good she was there.
Really good.
But like, she would have real challengers on the Democratic left, and she would go all across the community. She would harass them with phone calls. She would get their money. She would lock them in as fundraisers. She would lock in their support. She was really good at that. And she was very good in that moment, as Biden announced that, to go and make those moves and lock everybody up. I mean, you remember Barack Obama came out and said, I can't wait to see what process we'll come up with to find a nominee, very clearly saying, don't go down the Kamala road. She was able to lock that up regardless and was able to kind of push herself into that position. But once she gets into that position at every level, she's been terrible. She's never been popular. She's never been able to really win outside of hard left places where there is no challenger at all. And I just don't think this is a road the Democrats want to go down again. I do encourage it, though.
She had some crazy comment in the book about how she really wishes that she had responded to Trump's "she's for they, them, I'm for you" ad better. And she wishes that she had come out and said, "I'm for we the people," as if that would have solved it. Like, she really feels, she came up with this line after the fact, like that, maybe that's going to make her run again, because she finally came up with the zinger, the Kamala Harris zinger she thought would have put her over the top. Okay, speaking of they, them, I want to spend a minute on what's happening between J.K. Rowling and Emma Watson. We didn't get to this yesterday, but it's very good. I'm loving every minute of it. So, of course, J.K. Rowling is the billionaire genius behind the Harry Potter books and movies and plays and series and merch. And J.K. Rowling was raised poor. She came up with this book idea like in cafes while she was sitting there trying to think of a way to support herself, and started writing this book that wound up becoming just a behemoth in international society. And the kids who got cast as Hermione Granger in the case of Emma Watson, as Harry Potter in the case of Daniel Radcliffe, and as the other one, the least known of the trio, became international superstars. They got rich beyond their wildest dreams. They became overnight stars, sensations. Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe, at least, are still acting in many projects as a result of all of this. And really all they should ever say to J.K. Rowling is, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They were 10 or 11 when this all went down. Well, now Emma Watson is, I think, 34. She's a grown-up. And within the past 5 years, I think it was 5 years ago, she has started, and so has Daniel Radcliffe, turning publicly and turning on and attacking J.K. Rowling. Why? Because J.K. Rowling has been the stalwart in standing up for women's rights on the trans issue. She's never wavered. Unlike some of us, she wasn't drawn in early and like convinced that this is a matter of empathy. She was like, no, from the beginning, which was very, very strong and brave. She lost a lot. They tried to wrest her series away from her movie, her play. But J.K. Rowling is really kind of a don't F with me kind of bad bitch in the best sense, and has never backed down. Well, now the culture's turning. It's turning more toward J.K. Rowling's point of view, and not Emma Watson, who mercilessly attacked her for the past few years. No loyalty whatsoever. And she gave an interview recently. Emma did. Hold on a second. I've got it here. Okay. First, let me show you the dig she made. This is as 2022, as recently as. She was doing it even before that. But let me just show you what she's been sounding like before now. SOT 31.
I'm here for all of the witches. Our industry is blessed with so many diverse voices exploring ideas of sexuality, race, religion, and identity. Different ways of being. Our creative talents are brave enough to explore the past because they're eager to face the future.
Okay. J.K. Rowling says it was after that speech. Yes, I agree with your scrunched up face. That the backlash to J.K. exploded. And then Emma Watson gives this interview to Jay Shetty on his podcast, like this week or last week, a couple days ago, and says the following, SOT 32.
Recently, there's been so many conversations and comments directly from J.K. Rowling, whether it's her saying she'd never forgive you for your views, or the fact that when she was asked what ruins the movies for her, she named yourself and some of your co-stars. And how do you think about that?
I really don't believe that by having had that experience and holding the love and support and views that I have mean that I can't and don't treasure Jo. There's just no world in which I could ever cancel her out. I can love her. I can know she loved me. I can be grateful to her. What she's done will never be taken away from me.
This is ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you like, she happily heaped scorn upon Jo for years. We've only got a minute left in show before we have to take a break, but I really want to read this J.K. Rowling post on X. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to read this post, too. That's what we'll do. In the meantime, as we go to break and this ad, let me say to the audience, go to MegynKelly.com, MegynKelly.com. Right at the top there, we've got links to buy your tour tickets in the 10 cities to which we are going live to do the show. Check it out and go buy your tickets now. You can click on the special button and sign up for a meet and greet. I would love to meet and greet you guys. So go now, MegynKelly.com, and click on the meet and greet if you'd like to meet me in person, like up close and personal. We look forward to that. When you are buried in credit card and loan debt, it's human nature to put it off, saying, I'm going to deal with that later. If that is you, here's something you need to know. Done with Debt discovered a little-known strategy that works in your favor to dramatically reduce or even erase your debt altogether. They can aggressively engage everyone you owe money to this fall, and here's why. They know which lenders and credit card companies are doing year-end accounting and need to cut deals. They even know which ones have year-end audits and need to get your debt off their books. So consider getting started with Done with Debt now, this fall. Done with Debt accomplishes this without bankruptcy or new loans. In fact, most clients end up with more money in their pocket the first month. Get started now while you still have time. Go to donewithdebt.com. Speak with one of their specialists for free and visit donewithdebt.com today. We absolutely have to keep talking. It's more important now than ever. To cower, to hide, to go silent is not the answer. And all I can tell you is there is no fucking way I am canceling one stop on this tour. Not one stop. I'm going. I'm going to stand on these stages and I'm going to say all the things that we say all the time on this show. We're gonna make it safe for me. We're gonna make it safe for my team and my guests and you. We're going coast to coast and do something really important, which is say what's true and what's real to honor him. I really now more than ever would love to see you all face to face. God, I would love to see you face to face. I need to see you face to face. I am doing this tour and I would love for you to join me. MegynKelly.com for the tickets. So J.K. Rowling, after years of holding her tongue, years of just letting these brats run around attacking her, has finally shot back. And it is scathing. It is beautiful. And it is clearly written by someone who's made $1 billion plus with her writing skills. Okay. First, she notices that she's seeing a lot of comment about those remarks we just played by Emma Watson. She says, I want to make a couple of points. I'm not owed eternal agreement from any actor who once played a character I created. Emma Watson and her co-stars have every right to embrace gender identity ideology. However, Emma and Dan in particular have both made it clear over the last few years that they think our former professional association gives them a particular right, nay, obligation, to critique me and my views in public. Years after they finished acting in Potter, they continue to assume the role of de facto spokespeople for the world I created. When you've known people since they were 10 years old, it's hard to shake a certain protectiveness. For the past few years, I've repeatedly declined invitations from journalists to comment on Emma specifically. Ironically, I told producers I didn't want her to be hounded as the result of anything I said. She speaks of that clip that we just watched. The television presenter in the attached clip highlights Emma's all witches speech, and in truth, that was a turning point for me. But it had a postscript that hurt far more than the speech itself. This is the one in which Emma attacked JK in 2022. Emma asked someone to pass on a handwritten note from her to me, which contained the single sentence, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. She has my phone number. This was back when the death, rape, and torture threats against me were at their peak, and I was constantly worried for my family's safety. Emma had just publicly poured more petrol on the flames, yet thought a one-line expression of concern from her would reassure me of her fundamental sympathy and kindness. Like other people who have never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life, she's ignorant of how ignorant she is. She'll never need a homeless shelter. She's never going to be placed on a mixed-sex public hospital ward. I'd be astounded if she's been in a high street changing room since childhood. Her public bathroom is single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. Has she had to strip off in a newly mixed-sex changing room at a council-run swimming pool? Is she ever likely to need a state-run rape crisis center that refuses to guarantee an all-female service? To find herself sharing a prison cell with a male rapist who's identified into the women's prison? I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. I therefore understand from my own life experience what the trashing of women's rights in which Emma has so enthusiastically participated means to women and girls without her privileges. The greatest irony here is that had Emma not decided in her most recent interview to declare that she loves and treasures me, a change of tack I suspect she's adopted because she's noticed full-throated condemnation of me is no longer quite as fashionable as it was, I might never have been this honest. Adults can't expect to cozy up to an activist movement that regularly calls for a friend's assassination, then assert their right to the former friend's love. Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public, but I have the same right, and I've finally decided to exercise it. I mean, mic drop, Stu Burguiere. She could not have said this more perfectly, better, more powerfully, or more in a more damaging way for Emma Watson. She deserved every bit of scorn.
Yeah, first of all, don't screw with one of the world's greatest writers when you get in one of these battles, because that you can tell. I mean, that was something that was not something she took a couple minutes on. I felt like it was really something that had built up over, several years, right? She's dealing with something that is really heartfelt there. And you're right to say that it was, perfect. It was surgical in the way it was done. It was cutting. It really was impressive in that way. But also, you really sense like hurt, I think, there from her. I think like that betrayal, right? Like someone who you helped, make an international superstar, who who gave birth to your creation, right, and bringing it on into film, and you have to sit there and watch her criticize you over and over again, both directly and tangentially over a long period of time, and then when the world sort of turns around, to have this moment of like, wow, I really love her and I've always loved her and I've always embraced her. That's got to be hard to deal with. And it feels like it really hurt her at her core. Understandably, I will say the positive way maybe to look at this is that change is real, right? If she's sensing that, if Emma Watson in her circles is really sensing a change like that, maybe we've made more progress than we even understand. And that is a really positive way to look at this. But that doesn't, heal a wound that seems really deep for J.K. Rowling.
My favorite line, I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. Oh, my God. It's so effective. Yeah. It's so good. F this woman. And her betrayal of J.K. Rowling when J.K. Rowling needed a friend, when she could have used just silence. If Emma Watson disagreed so mightily, and by the way, I don't believe she did. I believe she went along with the woke mob, just like all these actors do. There's no way she actually believes a man can become a woman. It's scientifically proven he cannot. And so even just her silence would have been something, but she joined in. She piled on. So did Daniel Radcliffe. He should not escape this either. He was just as disgusting to her. And those were the ones that burned. As J.K. Rowling was dealing with death threats and having to amp up her security to protect her family, those are the ones she was thinking about, because we wouldn't even know Emma Watson's name if it hadn't been for J.K. Rowling.
That's almost certainly true, right? And one of the parts of it that hit me as you were reading it was when she stops herself and says, "Nay, obligation," right? As an obligation for her to come out and talk negatively about J.K. Rowling. That is how the society worked a couple years ago. Like the left, and honestly, tons of people in the middle, some even on the right, felt the obligation to post the black box on Instagram. Felt the obligation. They had to speak out. They had to take on this unjust world that they had no part in, of course, but everyone else seemed to have a major problem with. When we're talking about, as you note, biological truths. I am with you on this. I don't believe any of these people believe the things they say on this topic. I don't think that maybe there's a couple, but I think the overwhelming majority of them see it as some sort of box they need to check to be on the good side of the world. But none of them in private moments believe it at all. None of them believe you can magically change your gender with a series of words. None of them could possibly believe that. These are stories you tell your children about magic and princesses and princes. I mean, we're talking about a person who wrote a book about a wizard. That's the type of thing you need. You need wizard-like powers to change your gender with a series of words and a magic wand. Nobody believes this. And the fact that we went through a period that is going to be looked upon in the past as one of the strangest periods in American history, where all of a sudden we were all supposed to change our minds and wake up to this new truth when we all knew it was false. That's the scariest part. It wasn't like we had this awakening to this left-wing understanding. All of these people knew it was false and all lied publicly to fit into some weird mold that came and went in about 20 months. And that's a scary thing. If that is a possibility, we're closer to the edge as a civilization than we realize.
Honestly, like this, you must call out your dear friend out of obligation, or you're a bad person, or you somehow endorse every thought they have. Unless you publicly attack your friend, you're responsible for all that person's thoughts and opinions is absurd. And I will just say it goes on to this day. And it's wrong. It's deeply wrong. And shame on Emma Watson for bowing to the mob. Good for J.K. Rowling for calling her out. I am clearly on the Rowling team. I want to say on the subject of the trans mania, there was an extraordinary incident. Okay, this happened. Hold on a second. I think it's in the main packet. I want to make sure. Yes. Okay. This came through my X feed the other day and caught my attention because I follow this woman, Beth Bourne, and she had quite a moment. She's the chair of the Yolo County chapter of Moms for Liberty in Davis, California. And Yolo County is near Sacramento. And she has been going in front of the Davis Unified School Board every month for the last 3 years to raise her concerns surrounding their locker room policies, which let any student go to the locker room that they identify, of the gender they, quote, identify with, which means boys can go into the girls' rooms and sit and watch them undress with impunity. It's welcome. It's allowed. If you object, you're a bigot. And so Beth Bourne, who is not 12, she is 50, decided to do something about this. And every month she's been going and going and going for 3 years. They aren't listening. So she decided to take it to the next level. And I'll walk people through what we're seeing here in SOT 34.
Right now, we require our students to undress.
Standing at the lectern.
PE class. So I'm just going to give you an idea what that looks like when I undress. So right now, this school district is saying that
she's taking off her shirt.
On a child's transgender identity, that they can pick which bathroom they want. Right now at this school district, we have children self-identifying into different bathrums. Just
she's taking off her pants.
No, you cannot. I have my bathing suit on. Excuse me, this is allowed.
We're going to recess.
I'm going to finish my comments, or you are violating my First Amendment right. I am putting on my PE uniform. You are disrupting.
If you disrupt the meeting again, I will gavel it in recess, and you'll be asked to leave.
May I ask what I did to disrupt the meeting?
Got her clothes back on.
You can start your public comment.
Okay. So right now, in our school,
she's taking the shirt off again.
I'm sorry, but this is a bathing suit top.
I love her so much. This is so brilliant. I'll give you one more, Stu. Here she is speaking to the local news, CBS Sacramento, the next day.
I just thought I would show the school board what does it feel like to change into your PE clothing. And I had a bathing suit on, so everything was covered as far as my body. You know, if the adults don't feel comfortable watching someone, and I'm a 50-year-old woman, change into an outfit, how can they expect the girls to feel comfortable doing that? So I just thought I made a really good point.
Do you consider what you did last night disruptive?
You know, I don't think it was disruptive. What was disruptive was them interrupting my 3 minutes of free speech, that didn't stop the orderly flow of the meeting. I didn't prevent the next person from giving their 3 minutes of comment.
Amazingly well done. And she got national attention for it. So far, I don't think the board is budging because they're ideologues who are going to hold on to this myth that it's somehow bigoted to say little girls have to undress in front of boys and that it's perfectly fine. But Beth can't go down to a bathing suit in front of these other grown adults. But what a way to make her point.
Certainly made the point. And I have to say, too, if you happen to be listening on Sirius XM, you have to know this one piece of color, which is the person who's on the board in the center is wearing an N95 mask because of course he is. Of course he is in 2025. It's an incredible video. And honestly, it makes a great point because she didn't even get to the point where a young girl might be changing in the presence of other young boys. She got to the point where she's in a bathing suit, which is what you see on a beach. And even that they were so uncomfortable with, they couldn't even hear the words coming out of her mouth. If it's inappropriate in that environment, quite obviously, it's inappropriate around 12-year-old boys. Quite obviously, it's inappropriate with 12-year-old girls having to have leering boys look at them in that way. It's totally wrong. It makes the point. And we've seen this over and over again, Megyn. How many times have we seen parents go and say, hey, I'm just going to read the book that you say is okay for my kids to read in class? They start reading it and they shut it down. They all take their N95 masks and go home. Mm-hmm. It is so revealing about their position that, again, I don't even think they believe it. I don't think they think that is right. I don't think they think those books are okay for young kids. But they're going along with this as if it's 2 + 2 = 5 all over again. And it's a scary thing that people can be moved that way.
They were so uncomfortable. And they're adults. And she only stripped down to her modest bikini. It wasn't even a teeny weeny bikini. And they were so uncomfortable seeing her in that state of undress. What's actually happening is you have young prepubescent girls or pubescent girls in their locker room, and you have teenage boys coming in and taking it all off. If we want to talk about what's actually happening, it's girls at the height of the years in which you get embarrassed easily, especially about physical appearance, never mind nudity of your own, trying to change into their bathing suits to go swimming in school like I used to do. And they've got intact males coming into their locker rooms and taking it all off. And because, especially as you get a little older, let's say the teenage years and the college years, this is largely driven, this fetish by these men, by autogynephilia, which is where you get sexually aroused by dressing like a woman or being near other women, pretending you're one of them. You can add an erection to this picture for these poor girls. Deal with that, you disgusting school board perverts. You're perverts. Seriously, there's something wrong with them that they want to encourage that, but they can't take Beth Bourne stripping down to a modest two-piece in the middle of their school board meeting.
It is absolutely unbelievable. And we've seen, situations where sex offenders are getting into these situations. Sex offenders are, going down the roads that you're talking about, and they are able to be in these rooms. And we hear these reports that the haters are the ones that call it out. The haters are the ones that get thrown out of the gym. They lose their memberships. They get tossed out of school. The parents are the ones that pay these prices. It's an insane world. And it's hard to believe that it still exists. I said that when we were talking about Kamala Harris, that while it wasn't the closest election, it was too close for comfort. And I do feel that occasionally when we talk about these topics, it feels like we have made progress. I mentioned that maybe we've made more than we thought, but it's certainly not all the progress that we've made. This is still around, is still alive in a lot of communities. There's still a lot of places where, a mom just trying to keep her daughter out of a locker room with a bunch of, 12-year-old boys, that's still the weird position in a bunch of places inside the United States. And we have to defeat that ideology because we're putting kids at risk. We're putting little girls at risk. I've got a little girl. This is not okay. This has to be stopped, and it has to be stopped right now.
Not for nothing, Stu, but I was thinking as I watched Beth, the only thing that would be more effective than this would be if it were a man standing there who took it all off. because that's actually what our daughters are having to deal with. I mean, it would be, you'd get arrested for sure, but something for you to chew on before the next school board meeting in your town.
I'm going to say no. Please, at least keep something on in this scenario. I hope it's not like one of those European bikinis you're talking about.
That's what would really bring it home, taking it all off. A man taking it all off. You want to see those women run from that school board? They'd run. You would get arrested, but you would still be a hero. Okay, I want to finish with this. Tomorrow, I'm going to take a deep dive into this coordinated series of attacks onto Charlie Kirk's legacy, because it's really irritating me. And while I don't feel like I need to be the standard bearer of who Charlie was, his team is doing a great job of this. I've been right in the middle of all these fights, and Charlie came on my show many times after some of these controversial comments, and we would talk about them. So I do have the receipts. And I have had it up to here with these race hustlers like Ta-Nehisi Coates and Nicole Hannah-Jones out there posthumously trying to redefine who Charlie Kirk was. They didn't know him at all. They need to keep their mouths shut rather than taking little bits of clips and trying to redefine him as some sort of a racist. That's what they are, both of them. So I'm going to do just one soundbite with you today, and then I'll get into it in more detail tomorrow. But Ta-Nehisi Coates went on with Ezra Klein of the New York Times, and he had an issue with Ezra, who had written a very nice piece after Charlie died, complimenting and crediting Charlie for being willing to debate and to talk to the other side. And Ezra said that he admired that. So here it started. I'm going to play a couple sound bites, actually. It started with Ta-Nehisi Coates trying to shame Ezra Klein for having done that in SOT 10.
One thing I wrote about in that piece that I do worry about is I worry we are already in a cycle of political violence, of mimetic violence. I think about Pelosi. I think about Shapiro. I think about the near assassination on Trump. I think about when after that happened, I thought about me. I thought about you. I thought about all kinds of people I know, right? So I do think there's just something about when violence takes hold that like that there's something about it that it begins to breach all lines.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess
that was part of my reaction too.
I think all of that is understandable, but I guess was silence not an option?
Yeah, silence to me was not grieving with people. I felt it was important as someone who is liberal, as someone who has a voice, that there are moments like that.
And there, Ezra Klein was totally right. And Ta-Nehisi Coates is disgusting. After Ezra Klein says, and he's not even talking about us, Stu. It's us. It's our people who are getting shot, like Trump, like Corey Compatore, like the other two people who were at the Butler rally who got shot. Charlie, dead now at age 31. It's our people who are getting shot and killed, okay? It's actually not Ezra Klein. I don't want anything to happen to him or any leftist. But, let's be real about who's facing the risk right now. But he's thinking about himself. Okay, we'll take what we can get. He's thinking about Ta-Nehisi Coates getting shot. That's obviously what he's saying. So therefore, he had to say something against political assassination. I mean, I guess we'll take what we can get, crumbs from the left. But even the crumbs are a problem for Coates. Was silence not an option? I mean, they don't care. They don't care that we're getting killed. You heard it right there. Why would you say anything at all, anything kind about this hateful man? And I'll get to the specific comments on Charlie. He objected to the mild praise Ezra Klein offered in that article as a means of preserving life.
Very true. And I cannot wait for your deep dive on this. I thought what Ezra Klein wrote after Charlie's death was great. I thought it was awesome. And it was very rare that I feel that way reading something from someone on the left. I mean, it was, again, you're right. In some ways, it's crumbs. I mean, you kind of wish it was more from some of these people. But I thought it was important that it was noted from someone on the left that this guy tried to do politics the right way. And I think the left has a real struggle on their hands because, you have someone like Ezra Klein who's talked about this, this abundance idea on the left, a way to kind of reform the left into a vision that maybe the middle of the country won't absolutely hate. And when I look at that politically, I'm like, gosh, there's something to that potentially. Like, I'd be worried about that as a conservative who wants, conservative ideas to win. It's much more threatening than politically than what we see on the left from someone like Coates, like someone from like Ibram Kendi. But what we see on the left over and over and over again is the incentives are all there for you to go farther and farther, to vilify Charlie Kirk, to celebrate him, his death even. And that is, I don't think there's a chance that the quote unquote sane left can win that battle over on that side. And that's a scary thing for our country. I mean, I think it's probably easier to defeat in elections, but it's a scarier thing for our country. And the more hopeless that side of the world becomes, we see it. We see the results. We saw it in Charlie's case. We've seen it in cases like Minneapolis, burning down cities through the George Floyd era. We've seen a lot of political violence. Even these left-wing databases are starting to admit that now left-wing political violence is more prominent than right-wing.
And even the ones that are admitting that now, Stu, are removing from their calculations, which are acknowledging it's left-wing violence these days, they're removing from their calculations the BLM violence, the protests that we saw against Tesla, trying to burn down Tesla dealerships. So many of the left-wing causes actually get eliminated. And then things like the murder of Melissa Hortman, House Speaker in Minnesota, get blamed on the right wing, even though that guy was saying he did it under imaginary orders from Tim Walz, for whom he worked at one point. Okay, here he doubles down, and here's why he really wanted Ezra Klein to just remain silent. Sod 11.
I don't take any joy in saying this, but we sometimes soothe ourselves by pointing out that love, acceptance, warmth, that these are powerful forces. I believe they are. I also believe hate is a powerful force. I believe it's a powerful, powerful unifying force. And I think Charlie Kirk was a hate monger. You know, I really need to say this over and over again. I have a politic that rejects violence, that rejects political violence. I take no joy in the killing of anyone, no matter what they said. But if you ask me what the truth of his life was, you know, and the truth of his public life, I would have to tell you it's hate. I would tell you, I'd have to tell you it is the usage of hate and the harnessing of hate towards political ends.
I got a question for you, Ta-Nehisi. Was silence an option? Maybe silence was a better option for you, as his family's still grieving him and he's barely in the ground. Maybe now would be a time for you to shut the fuck up and stop talking about somebody you didn't know at all in hateful terms and driving up the hate meter on right-wing thinking, which is what Charlie was guilty of, as many of us are still making public appearances and trying to live. Okay? Maybe that's something you could think about in the future. I can't say it better than Mark Halpern said it when he reacted on After Party with Emily Jashinsky. Here he is, SOT 13.
That guy was not speaking on teleprompter. He was speaking off the top of his head. So maybe he regrets saying what he said, but fuck him. Because this man was not a hater. Just manifestly not. And there's so much evidence on the public record. You didn't have to know him personally to know that he wasn't a hater. Disagree with him. Charlie said some things I didn't disagree with. He said some things I didn't particularly fancy, but he was not a hater. And he's got a widow and 2 young kids and so many friends who loved him. And this guy's on the national town square talking bullshit about someone he didn't know. This is what's wrong with the desire for people to make money and get acclaim off of saying false, negative things about people they don't know. It's a real fundamental problem that's existed throughout human history, but now in the digital age, you can do it and you can reach millions of people. So fuck him.
Perfectly put. Your thoughts on it, Stu?
You know, we have a choice. We can be Coates. We can be Ibram Kendi. We can be Jasmine Crockett. You know, there's that choice. The other path, I think, is Erica Kirk. You know, we all watched her up there in an incredible moment, and a moment that was just like the biggest billboard for Christianity that I think I've seen in quite some time, saying like, this is who we are. You're told all the time that we're the haters. You're told all the time that we can't stand you because of the color of your skin or whatever choices you're making. When in reality, we're the people that are going to say, we forgive you when you murder our family members. Like it's impossibly hard to hit the Erica Kirk standard which, as I'm sure she would point out, is short of the Jesus standard. But certainly that's the way I want to aim. That's what I mean. I want to be Erica when I grow up. I don't know that I can ever achieve it, but when I think about who they are and the hate that they bring to the table over and over and over and over again, I'm reminded of the strength that she had in that moment. And man, I pray for the strength that I could actually come close to replicating it.
Ezra Klein tried to lower the temperature, tried to get a dialogue going across the aisle like Charlie did. And Ta-Nehisi Coates swooped in and crapped all over it. And while he gave words to "I abhor political violence," he was encouraging it by doing what he did. His actions, his actual thoughts on don't reach out across the aisle, don't openly mourn, don't praise someone like Charlie Kirk, only amps up the hate against Charlie and others who agree with Charlie who are still around. It was an absolutely disgusting, cynical decision on his part. And as Mark points out, he did it intentionally in the public square to change the dialogue around Charlie and around the thoughts that Charlie had that have become mainstream, that he finds so abhorrent. So I don't believe him that he abhors political violence. I don't believe him one bit, or he wouldn't have shamed Ezra Klein for doing one small but noble thing to try to stop it. Okay, I do have a lot more thoughts on this. I'm going to offer them in a more linear way tomorrow because I just refuse to let the character assassination of Charlie happen. They attack him when he's not here to attack them back, though if he were, he would absolutely eviscerate both of them, Ta-Nehisi Coates and Nicole Hannah-Jones, with ease. So I'll do my best to pick up the mantle tomorrow. Stu, thank you.
I'll be listening. I can't wait.
All right. Coming up next, Britt and Witt. Britt Mayer and Will Witt are here on what the hell is up with this bizarre Super Bowl guy, Bad Bunny, who hates Trump and half of America, who's now just been chosen to play the Super Bowl, etc. Stay with me. If you have ever Googled yourself, you know how many results contain your personal information, stuff you did not know or want out there. It's not by chance. Your information is available. Your name, your address, your phone number, your financial info, income, legal and health history. It can all be sold and shared publicly without your consent. There are real risks here, including financial scams, identity theft, unfair targeting by insurance companies, and general safety risks. But I want to tell you about Incogni. This helps you take control of your online privacy. You sign up, you allow them to act on your behalf, and they demand that these data brokers delete your personal info. Now they've introduced something huge, custom data removals. With their unlimited plan, Incogni's privacy team gets your info taken down from any specific site. Right now, you can get 60% off an annual plan by heading to incogni.com/Megyn and use that code Megyn when you check out to ensure your discount. It is risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Get 60% off an annual plan at incogni.com/Megyn. Code Megyn at checkout. Let's face it, big tech has gotten too powerful. Through the smartphones we use every day, they track our every move, decide what we see, and even can censor what we say, as you know. All that data collected about us, sold to the highest bidder. Even more concerning, these platforms now hold more control over free speech than the government itself. America was built on free speech, on privacy, and the right to speak your mind without fear of being silenced or canceled. And this is why the Up phone by Unplugged was created. It does everything you expect from a smartphone: calls, texts, maps, we need that, email, and it even includes its own uncensored app store. But here's the difference. Up phone is built to protect your rights. See, it blocks surveillance. It stops the sale of your data, and it gives you the power to step outside big tech's control and reclaim your digital freedom. Switching is simple, with a U.S. support team ready to help. This is not just about safeguarding privacy. It's about taking back our country and the fundamental rights it was built on. Visit unplugged.com/MK and order your Up phone today. We've got some more news to get to, including the NFL announcing this week that Bad Bunny is the halftime performer for the 2026 Super Bowl. So what has Bad Bunny said about America in the past? I'll give you one guess. Joining me now, Britt Mayer, founder of Rooted Wings and host of The Britt Mayer Show, and Will Witt, author of Do Not Comply and CEO of Pure Basics Collective. It's Britt and Witt. Welcome back to the show to you both. Great to see you. Okay, let's kick it off with this Bad Bunny because he gets selected to play in this and released a statement. What I'm feeling goes beyond myself. It's for those who came before me and ran countless yards so I could come in and score a touchdown. This is for my people, my culture, in our history. But what he said recently when asked about this, the question, you said you wouldn't be giving any concerts in the United States. Was this out of concern about the mass deportations of Latinos? Man, honestly, yes. There was the issue of like fucking ICE could be outside my concert, and it's something that we were talking about and very concerned about. So I'll just do one date in the United States. Oh, he's going to deign to grace us with his presence at the Super Bowl, Britt.
Okay, I'm going to be the first to admit I'd heard of Bad Bunny. I didn't know who this guy was. So I'm like, who is Bad Bunny? I mean, I know I'm old, but I'm not that. There's Bad Bunny for those who are just listening. In a dress with some weird white boots that are manly, and he's got hair on his legs, but he's got this big white dress and he's got glitter on his eyes. I mean, it's a situation. So clearly he's not my cup of tea. But then I got to thinking, whose cup of tea is he? And so, this is what I found out going down the rabbit hole on this guy. I had no idea that Barack Obama's best friend, Jay-Z, he actually runs the Super Bowl selection process through his company, Rock Nation. And so as soon as I heard that, it was like, aha, okay, it makes sense. They're just trying to shove woke ideology down America's throat in the platform of the Super Bowl. It makes sense. It's not because of who Bad Bunny is. It's because they want us woke. And that's really what it is, courtesy of Jay-Z and Obama.
Yeah. I mean, who are we going to have next year? P. Diddy? I look forward to Sean Diddy Combs in his comeback tour. I mean, that's Jay-Z's
Megyn.
Other best friend. So you tell me, Whit, whether this is an active middle finger to all of MAGA and the right wing by putting this guy who likes to dress in women's dresses and who hates the United States so much he won't come here because he's worried about ICE raiding his concert as our Super Bowl entertainment.
I think it's more than a middle finger just to MAGA and conservatives in this country. I think it's a middle finger to what America is all about. You know, I don't watch football myself, but, you know, I remember watching the Super Bowl last year and seeing Kendrick Lamar perform. And I remember thinking if my grandparents were still alive, like, what would they think about watching this? Like, can't you put people on who actually like represent true American values, who have songs that everyone can dance to? But it's like TikTok slop and these people coming on with these songs that are vulgar and completely out there. And so to me, it seems more not even just against MAGA, but more of a breakdown against American culture. Like if you listen to this guy's songs, I'm telling you, these aren't the songs that you want to be showing your children and things like that. And it in no way represents what I think what the Super Bowl is supposed to represent, which is people coming together, enjoying a night where they can get with their family, their friends, and not have to be paraded around with this garbage that they play.
I wonder whether this is what we're going to get subjected to. Here's Sot 38, where he's performing in drag. Yo perreo sola. Yo perreo sola. Yo perreo sola. This is him, by the way. This very unattractive female-looking thing. Okay, Britt. If that shows up at the Super Bowl, literally the fans are going to get up and walk out.
I hadn't seen that. So this is just a whole new level of it is woke puke. That's all it is. It's a regurgitation of all the woke ideology in the flamboyant colors, in the obnoxious sounds. It's not English. And then what in the world? So is he trans? What is this guy?
Unclear.
I'm completely okay. I'm so
He describes
confused.
himself as sexually fluid. I mean, I don't want to hear Bad Bunny and fluid in the same sentence after seeing that video.
How about we do Forrest Frank for the Super Bowl? Can we submit a petition? Forrest Frank, I would happily bring my kids to see that guy. Not a chance. Every parent should turn off as soon as that thing whatever that is comes on. Boycott it. That is so disturbing and gross.
I would take Roseanne singing the national anthem again over this guy. anything.
Oh, yeah.
Literally anything. Okay, speaking of leftist propaganda that finds its way into our children's lives, because that's the problem with the Super Bowl, Witt, is that the little kids watch it, you know? And like every year they put something at the Super Bowl that's inappropriate, whether it's Janet Jackson's boob or J-Lo showing us her vag and Shakira same. Like why? I remember my little guy was 6 when that happened. 6. Why is he seeing vag as he's trying to watch a football game with his family? And we think it's, you know, family entertainment. Now he's got to see this nightmare in the women's dress. I don't know what that is. And that takes me to Netflix, which has got what it's billing as a kids show, Dead End, Paranormal Park. Now, my youngest is 12 and now at the point where he can do some surfing on Netflix and I don't worry too much. You know, I do keep one eye on it. I'm not an idiot, but I'm just saying you start to loosen the reins as they get a little older. And I don't know that I would have marked Dead End Paranormal Park as something I needed to pay too close attention to, but I'll show you why you do, because here's season 1, episode 2, SOT 36.
It's not the park. It's me. I'm trans, Norma. And everyone at school knows, and everyone at home knows. And being here, it's like a whole new place. I can just be Barney, and I can choose if and when I tell people. I've never been happier. And that's saying something when I spent today chased by terrifying zombie mascots. Pugsley reminded me how important it is to live your life without apology. So I think I gotta give living here a shot. Don't you?
You don't need my permission. I just wouldn't want Courtney as a roommate.
We'll be the best of friends.
Unbelievable. This is a cartoon for those listening at home. And of course, in here, well, you've got, I've never been happier, never been happier. Sure, like continuing the lie about transing a child.
Yeah, let's let the suicide rates speak for themselves at 70% for these people who go and have these surgeries. I mean, to say that these people are happier is laughable at best. So I think when you're seeing this, what you're really seeing is conditioning by the leftist media, by politics in general, by the sports that you were just talking about, putting these things in at the NFL or something like that. It is complete conditioning, and you're making these young kids impressionable and saying, oh, well, this is okay. I can be this. This is cool. This is on my TV. This is on the YouTube that I watch. And so now I want to be this. And they go and tell their parents. And the parents, which honestly, most of this falls back on them, are not going and saying, listen, you're not a boy. You were born a girl, right? They're not going and saying that. They're affirming what they're going and saying and not actually telling them that they're being lied to by the propagandizing media. The parents have to take a much bigger stand against these kind of things when this is going on, because if they don't, they're just going to keep getting away with it because the kids don't know any better. They're watching this and just think, oh, it's cool. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Literally
so you've got
everywhere.
the Super Bowl doing this to us. You got Netflix doing this in a children's show that's a cartoon. And then just the other night, Law and Order SVU had an episode that was ripping on ICE, trying to make ICE look like a bunch of dirty bastards. The premise of the episode, I'm trying to get it straight in my head, but it was basically that an illegal immigrant was the only witness to a rape. And he didn't want to show up in court to testify because the evil ICE was going to arrest him and deport him. So Olivia Benson, played by Mariska Hargitay, couldn't make her case because her eyewitness was an illegal and the big bad ICE was going to take him away and made him reluctant to testify. Here's a scene, SOT 42.
Blasco, arrest him.
What?
Now. Arrest him now.
Mr. Reese, you're under arrest.
Captain Benson, you're interfering with the federal operation.
No, she's not. Jorge Ruiz is a material witness, and he's in the custody of the NYPD.
Do you really want to help a rapist go free? He's ours, okay? Take him to holding.
Once he provides his testimony, we'll release him.
This you?
He's holding up her card.
You have been obstructing this operation from the beginning. That is a federal charge. Put your hands behind your back.
Oh, no. Captain. It's okay. Stand down, Curry. Stand down.
Handing over her firearm. Everyone's looking disgusted at the ICE agent. the propaganda, Britt, in the face of ICE getting like literally shot at just days ago.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Didn't this episode air right after the ICE facility was targeted?
Yes.
I just want to know if anyone's still falling for this. I mean, I'm sure there's like the subset, right? The minority, the typical actors who are going to fall for whatever is spoon-fed. But the average American who knows now that ICE has been going in and making America safer, cleaning our streets so that we don't have more of the situations that have horrified us over the last few weeks with all of these stories of we have illegal aliens who are here illegally bringing harm to American citizens. So for smart thinkers, for the average American, I just wonder if this even passes the test anymore, or if average Americans are seeing this and just seeing it for what it is. It's just shell propaganda. You can create a story to fit any narrative. I don't think that the average person sees that and thinks, oh man, they really hit the nail on the head. I'm moved. Like this really shifts my perspective on ICE. And shame on all those actors. Shame on all those actors for propagating that.
What, by the way, Mariska Hargitay likes to bill herself as like some woman's activist because she plays an SVU cop in a TV show. Where is she standing up for the Laken Riley? Why isn't she standing up for Jocelyn Nungare, who was raped by a bunch of illegals and then thrown over a bridge at age 12? I don't think that's going to make it into a Law and Order SVU episode, Will.
Yeah, if they really wanted to be accurate, they should have made the cartel or the illegal aliens the people who they should be going after. But they're never going to do that. And I just love this pandering where they make the liberal woman just seem like such the upstanding person, and the white ICE guy is just so evil and terrible. They always do this, where they make it so that they seem like they're so much smarter than us. They're so much better than us. You know, there's so much. They have so much more courage than us with everything that they do. And to be honest, I'm sick of it, because you watch really anything on TV or in the movies nowadays. I don't watch TV or movies now because they say the white guy like me is the bad guy every single time. And I'm tired of watching things where it says I'm the bad guy every single time. I don't want that. I want heroism. I want courage from people, no matter what you look like or who you are, versus just painting us out to be the villain every time. And I think most, guys my age are just like, I'm turning all this off. I'm sick of this shit. I mean, it's just awful.
It's another reason why Charlie's murder has so affected young men. Because they've been told over and over that they're demons, that they're responsible for all of society's ills. And here was a young white man standing up to the mob saying, you don't have to believe that stuff. God loves you just as you are. All of us, even people he didn't, want to support in their choices, like trans people, he would say, God loves you. You can have a better life than this, rather than having these surgeries and so on. And what happened? He got shot down. And now so a hero to them got killed in front of their very eyes, and they're watching the left celebrate it. It's just all part of the same abuse that we are dumping on our young boys. It's deeply wrong. All right, I have to end it on a lighter note, because we just have to. We have to lighten the mood. And that brings me to Rosie O'Donnell, who I save for you, Britt. I saved Rosie O'Donnell for you.
Thank you. I was hoping. Thank you.
She went on the really inaptly named Nicole Wallace's The Best People podcast and have had a revelation about her conversation with her therapist.
Okay.
When people say, I changed my mind, we have to say, welcome back to reality. Let's all be Americans together, right? Because what's happening is not only happening to Democrats, it's happening to everyone. And when the Medicaid cuts go in, old people are going to start to die. Die. What he's done yet hasn't even hit us yet. Right. And if he's not stopped now, we have lost our country. And I don't know, Nicole, how it is that some people cannot see it. My therapist said, why are you so upset? And I said to her, why are you not?
Yeah. Yeah, I have that conversation too, because the gaslighting that I think you're alluding to, if you're a thoughtful, informed person, you do stop and say, well, maybe it is me.
It is you. The therapist should have given it to her straight, Britt.
She didn't need to pay for the therapy because they just figured it out together right there in real time for us all to see. No, I think it's rich that Rosie O'Donnell is in exile. I think she's in Ireland because she's protesting Trump, but then she still really wants to do commentary on Trump. It's like she can't quit him. It's like the boyfriend you break up with, but then you keep talking about him and obsessing over him and you're going on podcasts to talk about him. It's like, just either you're over him and you're in Ireland happily, or just come back here, fight for what you want here. I think that it's rich that she left and she still can't leave Trump. It makes me laugh.
I've got to play this last bite of her TikTok, SOT30C.
Touch them up and go.
Oh God, she's mouthing hot stepper.
Excuse me, Mr. Officer.
Oh no.
Oh. Oh, Will. I don't know. You're young and you're hip. Does this change your opinion of Rosie O'Donnell at all?
I'm a fan now. I'm a huge fan now. After watching that, I'm going to go follow her, and I think I'll be doing everything that she does. I'm going to go talk to my therapist and ask why they're not so angry. They should be a lot angrier. A lot angrier.
You guys put her on the Super Bowl. She should go on the Super Bowl tour.
Yeah, do the halftime
Come
show.
on.
I mean, Britt, as a former beauty queen, like a little foundation, maybe, like some lip
just
liner.
a little something. A little something. I guess. Just a few touches. I won't charge as much as her therapist. Come on, Rosie.
Yeah,
you and I can
just
talk.
a little
We can talk
glow
it
up.
out.
I think
Just
it could make her
tiny
a
bit.
lot happier. When you look better,
I was impressed with
better.
her lip sync. The lip sync was impressive. I liked it. Okay.
All right. So we left it on a positive note. Will has found his new role model, and we will get back to you on how that goes. Great to see you both. Britt Mayer, Will Witt. Till the next time.
Thank you.
All right. We're back tomorrow with Glenn Greenwald. See you then.